A-E-I-O, ba-be-be-bo. I really like this song. The way it was taught to our young people, to our babies. It's Ma-me-me-mo.
For Beverly Cryer, the history of the Musqueam's First Nation begins with language.
Our language identifies us as First Nations people, as Indigenous people. Our traditions, the oral traditions, that identifies us as Indigenous people.
Named for their role in the community, Cryer's ancestors brought news. She follows in their footsteps as the Four Nations cultural director and historian.
In any culture, with any individual, if you know your history, you will know how you will walk into the future.
The 77-year-old victim was walking through this wooded area just west of a local grocery store when a male suspect grabbed her from behind, pulled her onto the ground, and sexually and physically assaulted her. The suspect took the woman's watch and wallet before fleeing the scene. Bruised, confused, and physically hurt, the woman managed to make her way to this grocery store for help. RCMP have more than 20 officers searching the area and nearby neighborhoods looking for clues.
I think this is a type of offense that you should have everybody worried.
RCMP say this could be the work of a serial offender and that all residents should be on the lookout. They don't have enough details about the suspect to know if he will strike again, but caution the public he might. Police do believe the attacker was focused on sexually assaulting the victim and that the robbery was secondary.
How can you be afraid all the time or have to have somebody with you? You know, we should be able to get out and walk to a store without any problems.
RCMP say until an autopsy is complete, they cannot determine whether the man was attacked or if the injuries happened after his death. Either way, search and rescue say it was not safe for him to be traveling in the area.
The local farm people out there had told us that there had been a grizzly and a pair of cubs wandering in that area for approximately the last year.
As a founding member of the old search and rescue team, Jack Humphreys has experience in locating missing hunters. He says hunters should be looking for this kind of information to stay safe. He also recommends traveling with a companion.
An individual could take a fall and break a leg. No one knows exactly where you are. And in those circumstances, you're open to a great risk factor.
Humphrey says sometimes by the time search and rescue is called, a hunter could already be lost in these woods for more than 2 or 3 days. That's why it's important to leave something behind to indicate what direction you might be heading. Men had told friends they would be fishing on the lake Monday and were reported missing yesterday after they didn't show up for work. RCMP say they were co-workers and worked in Kananaskis.
I know they are from Alberta. The next of kin have been notified. They're from a couple different towns in Alberta, but we're just going to leave that for now because I don't have their exact hometowns.
The bodies will have to go to the medical examiner and be positively identified before any names can be released.
Good morning. Come on in.
Welcome aboard Route P19. It has its ups.
Morning, Hannah.
And downs.
Tessa. Thank you.
Over the past 7 years, Layden says she's seen all kinds of changes, but at least one thing stays the same: the push for safety.
We talk about class size and how class size is a difficult thing to manage. Well, try putting 72 kids on a bus and then turn your back to them while you're trying to maneuver this huge vehicle down the road and deal with other drivers and issues.
This was the scene on a foggy April morning near Rimbey. A gravel truck slammed into the back of this bus, killing 17-year-old Jenny Noble. The tragic crash helped spur the province to get on board with new safety regulations. Drivers will take refresher courses in things like winter driving. There will also be hiring standards, so every driver has the same safe driver training.
This bus is already equipped with the flashing amber lights that are now mandatory on all buses that will accompany the flashing red that you usually see. The only thing this bus needs is a strobe light. That too is going to be mandatory on all buses.
He runs with a purpose and focus that only comes from years of training the body and the mind. After 160 amateur fights, a number of world and national championships, Arash Usmani is turning pro.
I'm ready. I've been waiting for this professional boxing for, I think, since I've boxed. So I'm ready. I think it's the best time because I'm not getting any younger.
At 26, there's nothing left for Usmani to do in the amateur ranks. He missed out on the Beijing Olympics by a single point in his final qualifying bout, and he doesn't plan on waiting around for another 4 years. He's ready for the pro game both physically and mentally, which he's proven by the sacrifice he's exhibited. 5 years ago, Usmani picked up and left Red Deer, moving a couple hours northwest to Lodgepole, where the population sits at around 400. He came for one reason: to train under the tutelage of Doug Bolianis.
I came here to him as a just a raw, wild jungle style, you know, and he took me from this rough and just polished me up, and I can box now.
When he started as a boxer, his natural ability showed, and everybody was excited about him, and he just needed a little polish. And that's basically all we work on is offense, defense, technical things, conditioning, of course.
For 5 years, Usmani has not only trained in this old school turned Alberta Boxing Center, but he's lived here.
We got showers over here. There's about 6 of them in there.
His bedroom is just down the hall from the gym where he perfects his craft. When you step inside, you know you're in a boxer's room. The trophies and belts tell you that.
This is the sleeping quarters for the males.
With the exception of a variety of camps Boxing Alberta holds when fighters come and stay for a few days or weeks, Usmani lives on his own.
There's a lot of things that wouldn't be right for my career, for my boxing in the city. And it keeps me focused out here. It keeps me motivated and focused, and I don't lose track of where I want to be when I'm in Lodgepole.
For him to pull up stakes from his comfort at home and whatever, and move to Lodgepole and make that sacrifice, he showed a lot of dedication.
Usmani isn't going to live here forever. He's moving into an apartment 30 kilometers away in Drayton Valley. But living away from home and near isolation doesn't seem like a major sacrifice for this boxer. His childhood taught him that. The first 12 years of his life were spent in Afghanistan, where if it wasn't living under an attempted invasion by Russia, then it was living under the oppression of the Taliban.
During that time, I never thought, I'm going to die here. I could die now. But right now, when I think of it, I could have died any second of my 12 years of life in Afghanistan. Any second, I could have been dead. People go to boxing and they stress. It's a stressful sport. It's a stressful business. But to me, when I think of it, I got nothing to lose. I'm living.
Everything he's achieved, he's earned. Nothing has been given. Usmani has big goals, and so do those around him.
With that kind of dedication and his ability as an athlete, he's got the opportunity, in my feeling and a lot of other people's feeling, to be probably a world champion someday.
With his training in its final stages, the former national team member will take his first step towards that goal when he steps in the ring as a pro. Tune in tomorrow when Arash Usmani makes his professional boxing debut.